The Goto statement is still alive and well in C#. It's been around programming for as long as I can remember, going all the way back to the most basic of basic programming days, and it's still here. Now, the reason you don't see it a lot is because it inherently will introduce problems into your code. C# enables you to label lines of code and then jump straight to them using the Goto statement. Now, when we first saw this in the basic programming days, there was this incredible feeling of power and Star Trekness about our programming when we could use the Goto statement and jump around. However, while it provides us a very simple way to control the execution order of our code, using this technique very often will result, not can result maybe, but can and will result in spaghetti code that is extremely difficult to understand and to maintain. And I'm going to show you in the example, it can also have us writing a lot of code that never actually gets processed. So the Goto statement, is it something you want to throw away and never use? No. It's kind of like most medical procedures. You don't want to go have these things until you really need them and they'll make something better. And that's the same thing with Goto statement. You need to know about it for the exam and for the real world. There are times you may need to pull this guy out of your little coder's toolbox and use it, but you're going to use it sparingly. And more often than not, when you use it, you're probably going to get this realization that there's a better way to do it. However, let's go take a look at it, and you can think about that and design it in your own applications. But again, you need to watch for this on the exam. So what we're going to do, we're going to open Visual Studio 2012. And once this is open, I'm just going to create the Goto example. And so I'll click on New Project. And I keep clicking on this link, and in case you don't see this start page, I could just always go to File, New Project. Notice it's going to take me to the same place. And I'm just going to call this a Goto example. So I'll click OK there, right here, and notice it's going to create my project for me, and we're going to end up with our form because we're just doing simple desktop apps here to demonstrate the C# code in the background. Now let's drop our button onto our form. So I'll open the toolbox. It'll take it a minute sometimes to wake up. There it goes. I'll double click the button. I'll come over here and pull this down, and I'll double click my button to get to my form1.cs, my code behind page, code editor, whatever you want to call that. All those are appropriate. Now here's what we want to do. Let's just kind of type out some code. We're going to create an integer called answer, and then we're going to set a new integer called a equal to 34. All right, so we've created two integers now, one called answer, one called a, and we set the a equal to 34. Now notice you're getting a little green line. This is Visual Studio helping you, saying, hey, you declared this but you haven't used it. Okay, well, give me a break here in just a moment, would you? So answer, we're going to call answer, and we're going to set answer equal to a plus 5. Pretty straightforward. Now, rather than just kind of, I could put a message box here, but I'm going to do a Goto. I'm going to do Goto show answer and put a semicolon. Now I'm going to go down a few lines, and I'm going to do show answer and put a colon. Now that basically has labeled this area, and that is where my Goto statement is going to jump to. So I'm going to set answer a plus equals to 5. The Goto statement will kick the programming functionality or the code reading down to here. So we will execute this code and then jump down here and begin executing code. And right here, I'm going to do my famous message box, and we're going to just say answer equals, and then we'll concatenate and put whatever the value of our answer variable is in there. Okay, now if I run that, you're going to notice it's the same as if I'd left this Goto and show answer off, right? So let's let this compile up, and we'll run it, and we should get our message box. And there we go. We got the answers 39. So 34 plus 5 is indeed 39. And I did that in my head. Isn't that not impressive? So now let's think about this though. What if we have some more code here? Answer, we set answer equal to 25. All right. And then we'll do a message box here. And we will point out, we'll just put a message here that you'd recognize if you saw it. Never shows. And this really becomes a challenge with using Gotos. Notice though, the Visual C# compiler picks this up and it's telling you, put a little green squiggly under answer, and it's saying, warning, unreachable code detected. At this point, there is no way for this particular code to ever be run. So I've wasted my time coding it. This could be what I consider to be an important validity check, branching check, whatever, and you'll notice if I run this, that the same thing is going to happen as before. I'm going to click on the button. I'm getting my answer equals 39, but I'm never hitting the A plus 25. The answer equals 25. So this code right here is now functionally useless because my Goto is jumping over it. So Goto is really cool. You can branch to directly where you want to go. But probably the best thing to do in this point would be to use a method or a subroutine, whatever you want to call that, depending on what your background is. But if I'd created a method for this down here, then it would have jumped down here and run this and then returned program execution to the following line after the call down there. So anyway, that's the difference. But watch for Goto. You will see this mentioned on the exam. It is still here.